let's show you guys what went on and why there might be a legal issue for Magic the Gathering here. Okay, here we go. So we've got Magic the Gathering. There's this Commander controversy. It's written by Game Rant. So essentially, you had these 4 cards. So you had the 4 cards here are Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, and Nadu the Winged Wisdom. These cards were banned from EDH, from Commander. Now, there have always been certain cards banned from Commander. Let's be clear here. Because there's certain cards that, when they're in a multiplayer format that you can only use one card of, they're super strong, right? There are some cards that are banned. There's also some cards that are banned in like all formats because they're kind of like OP. So they're banned everywhere pretty much. So there's always been a ban list, right? But the ban list has been very restrictive because honestly, in EDH, you want to play with all your cards. There's a strong presumption against banning cards in EDH, right? There's a lot of cards that in EDH are really strong, like what we call mana rocks, right? Mana Crypt is a form of mana rock, essentially something you can play for 0 that gives you mana, and that allows you to cast stuff on turn 1. So if you get a bunch of these mana rocks that are 0 mana, 0 to cast in your hand, you can bomb down a bunch of stuff on turn 1 or bomb out your commander, right? On turn 1, because you've got a bunch of these things. The problem is if you play those mana rocks, right, and you play those like speedy cards, well then, if you play a lot of them, then your long game might be weaker. So there is a cost benefit to that. So eventually there was a rules committee which banned these cards, but there's a potential legal problem and a controversy here. So the problem is that some of these cards, particularly Jeweled Lotus, which is right here, 0 mana, sacrifice Jeweled Lotus at 3 mana of any one color. So it could be all black. So for example, if you had all black, you could play Dark Ritual, which gives you even more black mana, right? Actually, no, wait, sorry. This is only for your commander. So you can only play it for your commander. Never mind. But there's other cards that allow you to get 1 mana of any color, et cetera, et cetera. You get 1 black mana, and then you do Dark Ritual, et cetera. But this is only for your commander, okay? So you're able to get out your commander pretty quick. Then you got Mana Crypt, which is the one for 0 mana. And at the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, it deals 3 damage to you. You get 2 mana off rip. So you drop this, you get 2 colorless mana. You get to play another artifact, and that artifact can allow you to play colored mana and allow you to kind of combo off of that, right? There's a lot of combos you can come up with this. The problem is that these cards used to be worth big money. In fact, before the ban, Dockside Extortionist was $90. Now it's $20. Jeweled Lotus was $100. Now it's $40 and going lower. Mana Crypt was $200. Now it's $70 and lower because the real value of these cards was for commander. In fact, if you look at this card, if you look at this card, Jeweled Lotus, it says on the card that you can spend this mana only to cast your commander. So if you are not playing commander, you cannot use this card. So this card is useless out of the format of commander. So because of that, this card, which was included and promoted, so Wizards of the Coast promoted commander pre-built decks, right? There are pre-built decks that include certain cards that are helpful for commander. They included this in a deck that was pre-built for commander and sold it, right? And they sold this card and promoted it for commander and then banned it. So technically, what that is something called promissory estoppel. So they said this card would be useful, but indeed it turned out to be useless, right? Because it's now banned. It's not, no. Someone said useless. It is useless. It can no longer be used in the format. It's banned from that format. It's banned from the only format where it can be used. Where can you use it? You can't use it anywhere else. No, it wasn't. It wasn't in a pre-con. It was printed in a set designed for Commander. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. That's a fair point. But still, think about that, Nelly. Even if it's printed in a set designed for Commander, that defeats the point of the set that was designed for Commander. Does that make sense? So if you should be reimbursed for this card, which is no longer usable, right? Even if it's just in a set that's made for Commander. I get your point, right? Once again, I didn't buy these sets. Someone said it was in Commander Legends. It was in Commander Legends. Oh, thank you, Jess. I know you're big on Jess is my girl, and she's big on the TCGs. So I trust Jess, right? Yeah. Oh, Dockside was the one printed in Precon. Thank you. So different cards, different things. Dockside of the Precon, and Jeweled Lotus was in the Commander deck, Commander Legends. Thank you, chat. Point of the matter is, this triggers a concept known as promissory estoppel. So these cards are no longer useful. They're now useless. So could there be damages? Yes. Here's the problem. The damages aren't going to be what you think they are. It wouldn't be the difference between the highest speculative price on eBay and the low price. That's not what it would be. Because I know that's what people want to think. They want to think, okay, I want to sue for the delta. I want to sue for the difference between the top and the bottom of the market. That's not how it's going to work. There might be some cursory reimbursement saying, okay, you bought $100 worth of Commander. There's one card that was in it that's useless. So we owe you $1, right? Out of every $100 you spend, we're going to reimburse you $1. Something like that. A fractional, because one card out of that set is useless, right? So I think ultimately the issue would be the amount of damages, because a lot of people want to say it's that difference. That's not how it's going to work out and shake out. And once again, you'd have to really have a class action or a mass action of people going after this, or reporting them to the regulatory authorities for what they're doing here, and then maybe the regulatory bodies take action. Like, for example, with Steam, what happened in California? What happened in California? The regulatory entity said, oh no, Steam, you need to disclose that when you go on Steam, you're not buying a game. Okay, same thing, Wizard of the Coast. You need to go out here and make a reimbursement or make a recompensation or give people some sort of extra card. Maybe you give an extra card to everybody, or you give some sort of extra value to replace that card that's now useless. Something like that. Like, that's probably the most efficient remedy. I'm just saying. Also, here's another remedy. And I know you're not going to like this. No one's going to like me for saying this. No one's going to saying this. But actually two remedies. Either just play with your friends and the official rules. The official rules can go off. Just play. Just play. You know what's funny? You know what's crazy? Nothing stops you and your friends from just playing with whatever rules you want. Isn't that weird? You can make it into a drinking game. You can make it into whatever the fuck you want. Just play with your friends and just make your own shit up, right? House rules, best rules, right? Ultimate gatekeeping is house rules.